to the Keisa and Joe Show. We're live right here at the Filter Coffee Parlor this morning. Hey, Keisa, how you doing, beautiful?
How you doing?
I am doing great. I'm loving this
right.
new set. You're looking radiant as usual. Looking
Thank
beautiful.
you. Thank
Oh, I
you.
like the lipstick. Great. I see you.
Thank
Okay.
you. I was hoping I didn't have a milk mustache.
I
because
know they
drinking
just
this
brought our coffee
just
out.
brought our
This
coffee
butter
out.
pecan, salty butter pecan
Yeah.
coffee. It's really good. I
It's
love it.
delicious.
How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
It's a little rainy outside.
A little cloudy day.
Yeah.
Cloudy day.
Yeah. So, how have you been this week?
Pretty
It's the
good.
middle of the week. It's hump day.
Pretty good. Just making sure that I'm sticking to my plan.
Okay.
Just with weight loss and different things like that, and trying to be healthier and all of that. And it's work. You
Okay.
end up making your smoothies and making sure you drink your certain amount of water and all that kind of stuff. It's work. But we have to put in the work in the 50 and fabulous.
Well, let me
club.
ask you this. So, does it get
Yes.
harder for the audience? And you guys, you can chime in if you're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, YouTube, wherever you're watching this at. Does it get harder for you as you get older to continue the process? To get the smooth, to get the workout in, right? To eat correctly. Is it harder or easier?
So I think that's a double-edged sword in the sense that it is easier if it's a habit. If you make it a habit and if you make it a non-negotiable, it's easy. Because for me now, it's not a question of whether or not I'm going to make a smoothie. It's not a question of whether or not I go and walk the dog. Okay, the dog needs to be walked, and in order for the dog not to relieve herself in the home, I have to go walk. So that's a non-negotiable. It gets easier. Do I feel like it every day? Do I feel like walking her not only once in the morning, but do I feel like walking her 2 and 3 times a day? No. So it's a double-edged sword. So yeah, it gets easier if it's by habit, but are there days and times that it's still a challenge, even though it's a good habit? Absolutely. It still can be a challenge, but I'll take my chances with making that a habit because I know it's something that's going to benefit me in the long run. And look at him asking over here, Mr. I've been consistent. We were talking about something the other day. I've been consistent over the past several years. I'm not in and out with working out. I'm not in and out. So I need to be posing that to you. Is it easy to maintain healthy habits or no?
It's easy. Joe? It's easy to maintain if you have a strong why.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to maintain if you have a strong why.
I'm with you.
If you don't have a strong why, no, it's not easy to maintain.
I'm with you on that.
There are days I don't want to get up.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like doing something. Mm-hmm. Of course, but I know when I look in the mirror, I'm gonna be pissed off at myself. So if I don't go and get it, or even if I take off a day, because there are days I may not just do it because I just don't feel like it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go harder the next day.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make it up.
Yeah.
And I'm at a place now where I know not to go too far.
Yes.
For what I'm doing, but it does get easier if you have a why. Like for me, I want to stay healthy. I wake up every day now, and I'm seeing somebody done passed away, and they're around my age or just a little bit older.
We are the same age.
So I start to worry a little bit, America. Do you not? If you guys watching the show and you drinking your coffee this morning with us, do you not feel the exact same way that as you wake up in the morning, aren't you blessed to be to wake up, to feel good, to do the things that you're doing? And here's the other part about it. I can't say this because I'm 54. And I feel good. I look good. And so that's another reason. You know what I'm saying? And I want to be around to see my daughters, spend time with them if I'm blessed to have grandkids, to be able to see those different things. So is it easy? It's not easy, but I'm content because I know it's part of my daily routine now. So it's like when I wake up in the morning, it's things that I have to do, and that's just part of my routine. So.
Yeah. So you do know we said the same thing, right?
We did.
We just said it differently.
Yeah.
But we said basically.
You said the female way. I said it the man way.
There you go.
Yeah. You said it the woman way. Yeah. For the women listening, I said it the cool way because this is how we do it.
I'm gonna leave it right there.
We got a great show lined up for you guys today. We got some news lined up for you. Yeah. And are we talking about this presidential race? Are we going to talk about that today?
Yeah, I'm going to let you kick off with that. But I want to first of all say shout out to Omar. We're having to do some things a little differently, so I may not be able to respond as quickly to you today. My producers put me on notice to make sure I'm focused this way, so I may not be able to respond to you as quickly. But talking presidential news, and then in our topic coming up today, recognizing toxic relationship patterns. Got a very interesting story, a very interesting relational story, but recognizing toxic relationship patterns. And you all can go ahead and chime in on that if you want. What do you think are the signs? Have you been confronted by it? Have you been in a toxic relationship? Toxic relationship patterns. You can go ahead and start maybe even asking the questions, or if you want us to deal with something, we'd love to hear from you.
You know, I thought I could have sworn we had this off the camera conversation that we weren't going to talk about our toxicness on the camera. I could have sworn you said we wasn't going to talk about this on camera, but you're going to do that, right?
Well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
You know something?
We're
Honestly, y'all, when we come back after the news, I may not be here, but this ain't what we talked about. But anyway, what we got going on in the news, Keisa?
He's kidding. You know,
no, I'm not. I'm gonna drink my coffee on that one.
The story is not about you. The story is about a couple out in Spain, so it doesn't include you.
Oh, now you're gonna put it out like it's out there in Spain.
It's in
really talking about
it's
the
not about you.
Okay, so we go to Spain. Si, señorita.
Si, señorita.
Okay, so what we got?
So let's talk about the news of the day.
Okay.
By the way, here we want to make sure that you like and share the broadcast today.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning in, everyone. But like and share the broadcast. That's how you support us. For those of you who tune in now or later, that's what we need from you to show your support. So we appreciate it. Thank you in advance. So news of the day. We always start off with news of the day.
Yeah.
Have to talk. Let's go nationwide first. 2 words. Kamala Harris.
Is it Kamala or Kamala?
Kamala Harris.
Okay. Because
Kamala. I should know that.
When I was on radio,
yes,
and I would say it wrong,
yeah, people would be quick to
people would call
correct you.
in just to tell me, dude,
It's
get her name
Kamala.
right. It's Kamala.
It's Kamala Harris. What do you think about her potentially being the Democratic presidential nominee for president of the United States?
I don't feel one way or the other.
Okay.
About it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? She's running for president. This is where we are in this time.
Yeah.
So I don't have a favorite in this year, but I don't feel one way or another about her running or not running. Honestly.
So I was about to go there. We're not going to go and talk politics. I think it is. So I do feel some kind of way. First of all, she is a sorority sister. Okay. Alpha. The first sorority. Have to put that out there. I have no hate for any of my.
So why are you putting it first? We don't listen. We're talking about the vice president. We ain't talking about your sorority, man.
Yes, we are, because that is crucial. We cannot overlook that. Moving on.
Push it off the first. What that has to do with the race?
Have love for all the D9 organizations.
We want all the sorority to vote for her, not just the one that say they're the first. I'm just saying. Don't alienate folks for her now.
No, I won't. Actually, I said we have love for all of the D9 organizations out there, regardless. And that's my personality anyway. I'm a collaborator. I would not dare get on here. You rarely are going to hear me even talk about my sorority that I'm in. But anyway, how I feel about it, I believe it is a historic opportunity for our country. I think that, I don't want to talk too much about Joe Biden, but a lot of people who are in the Democratic Party believe that he did the right thing by being a little more senior and stepping aside and allowing someone who has that fight, that vigor, I guess is the right word to say it, to run for the race. So we're poised for a historic moment. That's what I would say.
Well, for historic wise, I think it would be historic if she wins.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But have we ever had an African American run for president before?
African American woman? No.
African American, that
I don't know. No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I think there was. Oh, I just like that just fell off.
It just fell off. We'll put you over there then.
But here's the thing. I think there was a woman that ran.
Shirley Chisholm, I believe.
I think it was. So I don't think she's the first woman that ran.
That's right.
But she's the first woman to be the vice president, and she's the first woman to become the soon-to-be nominee. I keep telling people she's not the nominee for the Democratic Party. She's raising money. She has broke historical records. I think it was like $81 million in 24 hours, which is phenomenal. So we do know she's going to be But the only reason why I talk about this, I talked about it on my show, and I think I did a post about it.
Yeah.
Because young folks need to understand the process that when a president steps down, they have delegates and super delegates that was dedicated to them.
Absolutely.
And so when he decides to step down and not run for the next election, the vice president or the person, the next person up, they have to get those votes from those delegates and those super delegates.
That's right.
Now, it looks like of course, she's going to get it.
Yeah.
But when everybody's saying, that she is the Democratic, she is not.
Not yet. No.
We right now the Democratic Party do not have a nominee. They have somebody who's poised to become the nominee. She will not most likely become the nominee until the Democratic convention.
I love that. That's a great educational moment. And let me just go ahead and say, and I will move away from it. One of my concerns is the apathy that's there, because I'm going to have to tell people you're going to have to vote your conscience. But if you really tell me, you're going to have to make a strong argument. If you really tell me that you really believe that there are, if it happens that Kamala Harris goes on to get the nomination as the Democratic presidential nominee, you'll have to give me a strong argument about why you really believe that there are two people who are qualified in the race. You really have to give me a strong argument. And the thing that concerns me is so many people have I don't care either way. If I look at your history, the country's burning, record numbers of killings of African American men, divisiveness, disrespect, international chaos as well, international disrespect. You're gonna have to tell me a little bit more about why, and then I want to know how many people will have the opportunity. You and I would not have an opportunity to go and seek any sort of nomination if we were convicted of a crime, found guilty of any crime.
Okay, so I hear what you're saying.
I'm sure.
However, I'm going to go here.
Mm-hmm.
That ballot is over, right? And this is no disrespect to anybody, including my co-host sitting here next to me. No one owes anybody an explanation who they vote for, right? It's your vote. It's your opinion. It's your thought. That's an individual thing. When you go in that booth, you don't have to tell nobody who you voted for, right? So it's not a conversation really need to be had between me and you or anybody else. I'm just being honest, right? Us discussing it is not going to change what they're going to do or what I'm going to do when I go into the booth. I think the better thing is you support who you support. Let's not divide the country on somebody's record or what somebody has done. These are going to be the nominees for both parties. It's a choice we got to make. That's what voting is for. The division, I think now, to me, seriously, I think it's time for us to stop it, right? Because I don't want to talk to you if you're voting for Kamala and I don't like it. I don't want to talk to you about if you're voting for Trump and I don't like it. No, just go vote. And may the best man or woman wins. Because you're not going to convince people who are going to vote for Vice President Kamala Harris. You're not going to convince them to vote for Trump. And the people who are going to vote for Trump, you're not going to convince them to vote for Kamala Harris. You're not. Their belief is their belief. And that's why this country is so great. You get to make a choice. We may not like it, but there's a choice that we get to make because this is America. It is not a dictatorship, right? We get to make a choice. I don't have to like it. That's why you vote. And that's why you make sure if you're in the electoral or college states, right? You show up and you show out because the popular vote is not going to get it. Do your research. This is politics, right? Do your homework. You got to show up. Because again, just because if Trump wins or Kamala Harris wins, it does not matter if they don't have Congress. So you still got to show up and vote. Because the president, if it's a Republican president and they got a Democratic Congress, he or she's going to be a lame president because they're not going to get anything through. There's going to be a bunch of executive orders that's going to happen during their 4 years, right? So again, you need to vote. Us having a conversation or saying or going through somebody's record and saying, I'm not trying to denigrate what you said or go against you, but we've had that conversation for the last 4 years. It does nothing. Trump did become president. Biden became president. Obama became president, right? These people will become president. We have to live under them. I think we need to get more about, I don't care why you voted. You voted. I'm going to do my thing and let's see who wins. Now let's get back to policy. Let's get back to listening.
I hear you on that. And I'll just close my part out by saying we all are welcome to have our opinion.
Uh-huh.
But I think the problem happens when we cannot make an honest assessment. Everything that we do, you and I are constantly making assessments as it relates to the show.
Right.
You're making assessments of me. People are making assessments of me. I'm making assessments of you. So to just have the argument of we don't need to have that discussion, that doesn't work. In my opinion, that doesn't work in anywhere in life. We always assess. We should. If not, that's the beauty of democracy. And if not, are we robots? To not be able to analyze, we're making these assessments all the time. And politically, it's a tough argument. But again, if it's me, people didn't keep me on ABC 3340 because I was cute. They kept me on ABC 3340 because I was effective. I showed up and they monitored my records. So when we get to politics, just to say I'm going to vote for who I wanted, we can't have these discussions, or we should look at a person's record, or it doesn't matter. I think that also minimizes the importance of something that is so critical, because we're choosing and electing a person who's going to lead and be responsible for the image of the free world. I mean, this country is a leader on an international scale. So just to say, people, yeah, and listen, you're absolutely right. People are going to go in that booth and vote for who they want. I am pro that. I am pro choice. I'm just saying, we don't have to be a robot and just accept, that whoever wins, and we just deal with it. No, I implore you to look to the record because, I want peace. And even the Bible talks about that, to pray for those who are in leadership. I want peace. If I want to remarry and have a family, I want my children. I want my stepchildren, the grandbabies, my cousins, my nieces. I want them to come up in peace. I want them to be able to live. I don't want to have a leader who is going to be disrespected worldwide, or put my children, my family, or my friends in danger. I don't, and I think I have a right, and I think you have a right to be able to say that. So it's all due respect, and I know it's tough on the political side to go there, but I like to have that dialogue. You may be just saying, hey, don't do that, but I do think I don't know. And this is just
I don't mind having it. Honestly, it's not. We're basically saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying that if you use the analogy of you being at ABC 34, what the people said, right, and what you did was totally two different things, right? The people probably had their opinion of you, but ABC said you was qualified, and so you did the job.
Yeah.
You had people out there in the public that said you wasn't, they didn't like you, you were black, you weren't black enough, you weren't white enough, right?
Yeah.
But that didn't matter.
Yeah, because you said I was still there.
Right, and you
Gotcha.
watched.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So that's the only thing I'm saying is like,
I gotcha.
we the people should continue to have a conversation when this is what it is, right? And no, the people, because what I'm saying is there are some people in this country still right now who are probably undecided.
Yeah.
You and me trying to have this conversation to convince them,
I
don't think it's going to work. I think once Trump continue to do his rallies, I think once Vice President Kamala Harris continue to do her rallies, and if they have a debate, they are going to be responsible for pulling in the undecided. You and me arguing on social media, you and me getting on blogs and saying different things about people, right? That is, to me, it's a sidebar to a conversation where I'm trying to convince you. You know what I mean? So, and I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's so much divisiveness and it brings so much negativity because you get everybody that support the other person or the other person one way. We're not having a conversation anymore. We're defending. We're
arguing.
Right.
We're denigrating.
Right. And I'm defending. And then whatever he did or whatever she did, everybody can go Google and post and paste or say what they want to say and say she did this or he did this. Again, I don't think that's going to help. No one go to the polls to go vote. That's the only reason I say the conversation. I don't mind having a conversation with you. But if there's a Trump supporter, and I'm a Trump supporter, someone else is a Kamala Harris supporter, I'm not going to have the conversation of you why I'm voting for President Donald Trump.
Well, doggone it, I'm going to have to go to CNN because Joe will not have this discussion with me. I'm so sad. CNN, I'm available.
I will have the discussion, right?
ABC News, I'm available.
And right now, I tell everybody,
Fox 6 News,
I'm not saying if I'm voting for Trump. I'm not saying if I'm voting for Kamala Harris. Because again, I said on my show yesterday, it's nobody's damn business who I vote for.
No, it's not. Once you go into the voter booth,
Whatever
you do, that's your personal
what I
right.
want people to do is get more educated, get off of social media, do your homework,
Sure.
right? And see which candidate speaks to your heart.
Sure.
You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
Because I can sit here all day and say, well, she did this or he did that. That's fine.
Yeah.
But how does it affect my two daughters in the next 4 years?
I'm laughing because my friend Greg is on here. Tony did say Shirley Chisholm, you were right. She was the first African American woman who was a presidential contender.
Okay, this way.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Joe. And let me do this and put Greg's comment up here.
Okay.
Greg says he's an independent, and he says he basically assesses both candidates and their records or whatever. So, in other words, I think he's doing what you talked about, just thinking and looking at the record and not just spouting off information. And he said, on another note, what coffee are we drinking? So, can you enlighten Mr. Greg Dotson?
It's salted. It is salted butterscotch coffee right here, and you can only get this because it's a special mixture that they make. This salty butterscotch coffee. And when I said I never would have thought butterscotch and salt would taste so good together. So I wait. I don't do anything any coffee wise in the morning when I'm coming here on Wednesdays. At Filter Coffee Parlor. So if you're ever in Birmingham, Alabama, make sure you guys stop by Filter Coffee Parlor right here on the south side. And it's right next to the historic International Pancake House.
Yeah.
Now, since we did talk about the presidents,
I think we had our first debate on air.
We did, and for me,
it really was our first debate.
We debated.
It wasn't a debate.
It was a conversation. See, I like having the conversations, and I think when we get closer, why don't we bring a Trump supporter and a Kamala Harris supporter on here? Let's have it. But I'm telling y'all,
no arguing.
We're going to have the conversation.
Yeah.
Can we have it? I want this show to be, if we're going to do this during the presidential election, I want to have conversations of what you feel and what you're looking for. Because we need to, if we're going to use this show to be a platform, we need to make sure that we're positive, right? I accept Trump supporters.
Yeah.
I ain't got to agree with you.
That's right.
But let's make sure that we can have the conversation. And here's the key.
Okay.
Can a Trump supporter or a Vice President Kamala Harris supporter sit down and have a conversation without denigrating each other and have the conversation intelligently to see what they are actually saying and why?
So that's a great question. And can I just say that I really liked talking. I think you're a very measured person. She's saying
that for y'all because she's on air. Because that ain't what she tell me when we off air.
You are. You truly are. You are very level-headed. You truly are very level-headed. So I really, and I think for you, you allow me. So I think it would be a great environment because I think you're very level-headed. For the most part, I am, but sometimes I can go off the rails. Just full disclosure. But I think you are very measured. So I think this would be a great environment because you wouldn't really allow that to happen. No. And if you pay attention really closely, you can probably tell. You may be able to see. We may be on a little bit different side.
But here's the thing. I haven't chosen a side.
I got you.
Right.
I got you. You're neutral.
I am. I'm going to be neutral.
I'm not.
Right. Exactly. But see,
I'm not.
I want to talk to everybody.
Yeah.
Right. So being in radio over the last 10 years, I was under Bush. I was under Obama.
Yeah.
I was under and I was under Trump.
Yeah.
Right. In radio.
Yeah.
I had to learn to have the conversation
with everyone.
Because I was a black guy that was a conservative on radio.
Yeah.
Right. And so everybody think automatically that I'm going to be a Republican and I'm going to vote for it. And I tell people no, because I tell people right now.
So you look at the candidate.
I always did until Obama came into office, and I was on the radio and I said this. Right. I didn't care what side I was on. He was the first black man I voted for.
Oh wow. Okay.
And that didn't go over well with a lot of folks.
It did.
But I didn't care. There was no way in the world, even if I had conservative views, right, that for the first black man that ran for president and was able to go do it, I wasn't gonna vote for him.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna tell my kids no, I voted for somebody else. No. I voted for Obama the first time. I didn't vote for him the second time.
But see, I like having these kind of conversations because Joe, we may be the only opportunity or window that people have into sense and sensibility
Exactly.
as it relates to this. So
Yeah.
if we're talking about 50 and Fabulous and,
Mhm.
specifically speaking to our genre,
Mhm.
okay, I think it's a wonderful opportunity. So, just maybe consider, because I think I like the way you kind of handle things. You're very chill,
Mhm.
you're very balanced. And I think that we could also just bring, regardless of sides, not choosing sides, but again, educate people around the importance of getting out
And
and voting,
how to have the conversation
how to have the
without
conversation.
saying that he's bad or she's bad.
Yeah,
Tell me their record. Tell
yeah,
me why you're voting for this person, right?
yeah,
Don't
yeah,
say, well, how can you vote for somebody that said this, or how can you vote?
yeah,
How can you marry somebody that look like that? How can you marry somebody that talk to you like that? How
yeah,
can you marry somebody that do these things to you?
yeah,
But you still stay in those relationships, right?
yeah,
So that is, to me, is a divisive conversation,
yeah.
and you're not talking about the substance, what we need for this country.
But don't we do that though? Even
Yes.
in relationships
We
though,
do.
but don't we do that? Well, how could you marry somebody like that? We do it. I'm not.
And
So
this is why my circle is small, because guess what? The people in my circle,
yeah,
they never asking them dumbass questions.
but you're sure. That means shut up and move on.
But I'm just saying, because you got to hang around birds with feather flock together,
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
You will never see Vice President Kamala Harris people hanging out with the Trump people and vice versa, right? That's not going to happen because it's going to be a problem.
Well, let me ask you this.
Sure.
Wasn't there a time though that would have happened? We have become so divisive as a country, regardless of whether there are two broadcasters who are on air, and Lord, and we're going to wrap this up with this. I'm going to let you answer. We wrap this conversation up. But there are two broadcasters who are on air.
Mhm.
There's a lady who is a Democrat. Her husband is Republican. They're married.
Mhm.
Can we not fellowship together even if we have different views? I think we've become so divisive.
I think
in
most
this
of us,
arena.
I think most people do, sis, honestly.
Yeah, yeah,
But this is what I see happen in America is the person with the loudest voice get the most attention.
absolutely,
So
absolutely,
if I can scream loud and say you're ugly or you're this or you're that, right?
absolutely.
That makes it clickbait, right? This person said this about person. This person said this about this person. And if one of somebody that's celebrity, picks up on it and agrees with you, okay, now you feel emboldened,
Mm,
right? Again, not knocking either person's style,
yeah,
because guess what?
yeah,
Vice President Kamala Harris' style has got her to where she is.
yes,
Former President Donald Trump's style
Yes.
has got him to where he is.
yes,
So let me just say this to America:
yes,
both styles work,
yes,
right? Because that's what America has said. Because guess what? Former President Donald Trump was the president for 4 years of this country, so his
Yeah.
style worked
yeah,
over the Republican Party.
yeah.
He took over.
Uh-huh.
They had all these experienced people in it,
Mhm.
but a guy that had no experience came in and took over the Republican Party. So obviously, the Republican Party was looking for something, the people, and they chose him, and that's the people's choice.
Yeah.
Right? That's how he got there. If the people didn't choose him, he wouldn't have been there. So again, at the end of the day, I would say to the people, right, make a choice.
Yeah, and you all are really quiet. They're hanging in this morning, but you're really quiet. So we'd love to hear from you on
I think
that.
when you have an intelligent conversation, I think people are listening.
I do too. I really do. And it's a tough conversation. This conversation that needs to be had
Yeah.
because this is something that impacts us much more than what we think.
Yes.
We can bring on a lot of things here. We can talk about a lot of things, relationships, but so goes our presidential race. So goes our country, the direction of our country. So these are important conversations. So moving on, let's bring it here locally a little bit and then
Sure.
move on. So I always try to promote the Birmingham Times. And are you familiar with they're cheering because we're moving on, I think.
And you promoted Birmingham
And
Times.
I'm promoting the Birmingham Times, right? The Equal Justice Initiative. Oh my goodness, Brian Stevens. Are you familiar with him and the work?
I do not know him.
You do not?
Uh-uh.
Oh wow. This is a gentleman. Hey y'all. Hey, welcome in. He is one of the most. He's an attorney. The Equal Justice Initiative. There is and Lord, I have not been to this actual monument.
Uh-huh.
But there is and I'll have to let me come back to that. Brian Stevenson, if you Google him, he is a person who can have a tough conversation. Speaking of, this is actually a great segue. Speaking of having tough conversations on tough items, this gentleman is so smart, so learned. He can have an intelligent conversation around race and not offend people. I have watched him speak.
Mhm.
The lynching museum, thank you, Lord. That's what he's over and he brought to Montgomery, Alabama.
Over Montgomery, yeah.
The lynching museum.
Yeah, I went to go see that.
How was your experience?
I don't want to see it again. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's there,
Yes.
but I could have done honestly without seeing it.
Yes.
Because when you look at, if you go there and you're angry
Yeah.
already,
This is going to just add a little bit of.
you're not going to walk out of there and look at people the same again. I'm just being honest, man. And so I walked out of that museum when it was first put up, right? Because they didn't have all the stuff they got in there now. I was mad. I felt some kind of way. And I could be honest, probably for about a good 30 or 40 minutes. When I saw white people, I didn't feel so good. I'm just being totally honest with my emotions. When I looked at it, I know they didn't do it. But when I walked through that museum and I seen what was done to people in my family and people that look like me, it took me a minute to come back and say, hey, I'm glad we have progress. I'm glad we have moved forward. So, if you're not a sound mind and body, do not go to that museum.
It's a little bit about. Have you all, by the way, been to EJI? Have you all been to see it? Have either one of you gone to see it? You have? Twice? Wow. What was your? Our producer nephew says he's been twice. What was your experience?
Yeah, I went when it recently opened, and I went like probably 2 or 3 years after. He right, it do make you feel some type of way.
He says it makes him
But
feel
I get
some
why
type
it's
of way.
there.
But he gets why it's there.
For the names of folks that should be mentioned,
Yeah.
I appreciate why it's there too.
Yes.
Because that needs to be talked about.
Yes.
And it needs to, I think making you uncomfortable breeds some type of, at least in my imagination, if it makes you uncomfortable, it'll make you not want to repeat.
He says that's good. He says if it makes you uncomfortable. He says he thinks it's important. I'm just making sure they catch what you said because I think that's so good. He said he believes that it's something that makes you uncomfortable, and if it makes you uncomfortable, it lessens the chances of it being repeated. Is that fair? That's from our producer.
Because I think it was when we first went.
Yeah.
It was a group of white folks that were there.
Yeah.
And I could see on their faces how distraught they was.
Really?
Yeah, like literally walked out.
He said that he saw.
Went through it.
Yeah.
And not to feel, I mean, I ain't gonna lie either. A piece of me felt good, but at the same time, I could see in their face, they was like, this is despicable.
Yeah.
You feel me?
A little too much.
Yeah, like this should have never
This
happened.
shouldn't have happened.
And I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
And they came out of it with newborn appreciation. I think at that time, they had like panels of folks where you could get in small groups and you could talk to each other. Like it was fun. But
we need to make it possible for him to be able to come in and out of the show because that's great feedback. What he was
basically, what he was saying, because basically what he was saying, basically that there were, when he was there, there were a group of white people that was there, and he said when they walked out, you could tell that they had hit them pretty hard. And he said also, he was in a sideways petty way. He said, I was kind of happy about that.
Yeah.
But
I do think a good idea would be to get him a microphone so he could talk and we could actually hear what he said. I think that'd be kind of cool to hear him because I thought, and he's a millennial nephew.
I love all these ideas you be coming up with, and then we have to sit back after the show and figure out all this stuff. We just not be able to get your sound correct and get you to turn this way and get the lights and everything. I love all this extra stuff that you be doing. And our producer back looking like, here we go again. In the middle of the show, she coming up with some new stuff.
I'm an idea based. Gotta love it. And I think that would be so cool though. It'd be kind of like the Tonight Show when you got the guy who's over the band.
It's called budget, man. It's called budget. We need more sponsors.
We need more sponsors.
We got a couple sponsors, but we need more sponsors.
But and that is why I have not been to see it yet because emotionally. And again, pick up your copy of this movie, y'all. great story there. And take a look at the work. I'm sorry, of Brian Stevens. And what he has done, he's revitalized downtown Montgomery, which is my hometown, by the way. Go Montgomery, aka the Gum. But it is a difficult thing to do, and I have not been able to. I actually had a group of friends. I'm in a life group at my church, and they went to the monument this summer in June. I wasn't able to go because I'm not ready, and I'm not ready to see it. So it's there though. We cover it extensively here, and we have a couple of things in here as well. Some mental health issues. They had a mental health day.
Okay.
Kind of moving on from that topic, with the city of Birmingham, I was able to go out and cover that. Nurture Alabama. Ladies over that. Crystal Mullen Johnson, phenomenal young lady, talking about the importance of mental health. So great articles in here to help you. And as we get ready to close this out, Joe, for the city of Birmingham, we have not really talked about this, but we're always real big on trying to, make sure we don't miss any things as it relates to the city.
Sure.
But violence, and recently Birmingham just had like an incredibly horrific
We had one of the most deadliest weekends in the country, in America.
My God, that pains me for my city. I've been in this area for 20 plus years, almost 30 years. I'm from Montgomery. I just moved recently, in fact, recently as in last October, to the city of Birmingham. That pains me for my city. I believe that we have a great mayor. I believe we have great city leaders who freaking care. The job is too big. No. Let me watch my words. It is a huge job that they're having to undertake to just manage people. And this is my opinion. Everybody can have their opinion. You don't have to agree with me. That's the beautiful thing of this. But I've seen him. I've gone to council meetings. I've seen how the council responds. I've seen how measured they've been. I've seen how they've put resources toward helping our community continue to do. But when we have young people who do things like threaten the mayor, when we have young people who continue to do that, my heart goes out. But I'm not just talking. You and I both are part of programs in which we're trying to bring solutions to our young people. I'm not just talking on here. I believe, and if I'm going to sit here and talk, I'm going to put some action behind it. But it still pains me. And I want to read what LaTanya Tate, she wrote, Counselor of District 9, to all of those impacted that erupted in the last 24 hours. This was a little while ago. She says, we mourn with you. And we stand with you in the belief that Birmingham deserves more and will continue to fight. I will just volley that to you as we kind of close out that part.
These young men and women, how y'all doing out there? Hey, do us a favor, wherever you're watching us from, let us know what city and state you're watching us from. Hit the like button. Let us know where you're watching us from. Okay, we'll love to say hello to you. And our producers will let us know if you're saying you're from Birmingham, Atlanta, wherever. How y'all doing? I think with the wave of violence that we're having here, you can come from a good home and still get in trouble, right? And we've seen this happen so much. And I think what's happening now that these kids are influenced by so many other things besides what they do at home, that when they get in the streets and they get around peer pressure, they are handling it different. Social media, music, is raising the thought pattern of a lot of young people.
Say that again. What are the two things?
Social media and music is raising the thought pattern of our young people. That don't mean that they didn't come from a good home. It doesn't mean that the mom and dad didn't do a good job.
Absolutely.
But the thought pattern in a split second is being put upon them by things that parents can't see. Your kid can say yes or no, right? And but your kids can go in. I can say yes or no, ma'am, and then go outside, right, and walk right outside that door, and be cussing like a sailor with my homeboys, my homegirl, with a vape in my back pocket, right? And still getting A's and B's in school.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times you're seeing this. I don't know the full story of the young man that threatened our mayor, but from what I've heard, that his mom was the one who turned him
Mm.
in. Right.
Go
But I don't
mom.
know that to be true or not.
Okay,
But again,
okay.
like I said, that's what I heard. But
Okay.
for you to do something that insidious,
I love it.
right?
Insidious.
That shows you where these kids' thought pattern is coming from.
Yeah.
Because there was no thought that went into the post to understand the consequences and repercussions
Absolutely.
that was going to come behind what he did.
Absolutely.
And a lot of our kids right now don't understand consequences and repercussions until it happens. And then you want to cry that I'm a kid or can I get another chance? Hell no. Right? So again, this is a phase that we got to go through. I don't think we can do what we can do as adults, as leaders, as people, what we're doing in the situation, in the things that we're doing to try to combat this. But here's the thing: when you call the police, it's too late. If you end up in our classes, it's already too late. We just, we can probably help you not do it again. But the phase that we got to go through in this country, generation that we got to go through right now, this is what it is, right? And so when I even talk to the kids, and I talk to these kids almost daily, right? They don't know the answer to why some of these kids are doing what they're doing. Some of these kids are saying that they're afraid to go outside. They're saying some of these kids that are doing this stuff, they just don't care about nothing, which means whatever they're going through in their life,
Emotional damage.
Yeah.
but that's what it is.
Yeah.
And you need to.
Shout out to our audio people
Hey,
today.
no, hold on.
This makes it more fun.
Hold on. We got our budgeting group, so we got sound effects on the screen. Everybody's standing around watching the show right now, like, where did that come from? How y'all doing? Thank you for watching the Keisa and Joe show. But I think when it comes to our kids, let's pray for them.
Oh, thank you.
Continue to pray.
Yeah.
And the only other thing I would say is for parents,
Yeah.
make sure your kids are dropping their locations.
Yeah.
Know where your kids are.
Yeah.
Try to know where the kids are at all the times.
Yeah.
And we just have to do the best that we can.
Yeah.
But are things going to happen? Yes. The only thing I don't understand, and I'm going to move on from this. I don't understand, sis, America, Birmingham, how our kids are obtaining guns. Where are they keeping them? How they get switches? 13, 14, 15, 16 years old. That part there, I don't understand. I don't have answers for that. There's a breakdown on something of who they're getting them from, how they're getting them, and most importantly, where they're keeping them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But there's no way I could have kept a gun. I'm in my 50s. My mother knows. My mother can still find out where I keep some things because she does what she calls rambling.
Right.
Okay. So the question is, how are they able to do it? And I will just close out by saying this comment, Joe, on that particular point. I thought you brought some great points. Y'all, we need to continue to pray. And we need to put some action behind that prayer. Start watching more and pray. I talked to a group of young ladies, and they didn't understand. They took issue with the fact that I said that our climate of music and culture as a whole is what's influencing some of our negative behavior. They took issue with it and said, well, with some of the people that I mentioned, well, they're just expressing themselves. So if your research shows that a brain is not fully developed until a child gets into their 20s, the crosses that threshold of that 20-ish, 21, the brain is not fully developed. So unless you can give me, as those children, some research-backed information to say that music and social media doesn't have an influence, it's a hard sell for me. But they just took exception. Oh no, they're just expressing themselves. But some of the lewd things that they're saying, when you glorify killings, when you glorify negativity, you glorify disrespecting authority, police, etc., etc. You glorify those things for a young person whose brain, whose life is not fully developed, who's extremely impressionable. It may not influence all, because there are some who can say, yeah, that's just it. That's not real, or I don't want that life. This is just entertainment to me. But there are others who can't make that distinction. So again, you'll have to tell me, because for the most part, their parents are working and trying to provide for them. So we can't always say it's the parent. So you give me, and parents, this is not anti-parent. So you give me another reason other than saying, oh no, they're just expressing themselves. That, ladies and gentlemen, in Keisa's opinion, is part of the problem. My young people, I love, and I'm like Joe now. Joe has given me a whole new perspective on talking about things. We can have a conversation about it. If you disagree, I invite you on the show. I invite you to comment. I invite you to share your opinion and disagree with me. I just want to hear your logic behind it. Do share and do enlighten.
And if they come on the show, right?
Yeah.
Bring solutions.
Come on now.
We're
talking my language.
We don't need people coming on the show just to fight because we disagree with them.
Just talk.
Listen, y'all know me. On this platform, I don't give a damn if you don't like me, if you disagree with me. Right? My whole thing is, what's the solution? I'm solution oriented at the end of the day. Let's get answers. I can be wrong, right? But let's find answers for our youth, because I don't want to see another youth. I don't want to see another youth unalive, or a group of people being unalive by a youth that's undeveloped in the brain, that does something insidious at a moment that they didn't think it all the way through, and they didn't know how. They acted on a reaction, and I'm not giving them an excuse, but I'm saying I did some dumb stuff when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But the dumb stuff I did
didn't
end me up in jail, or I didn't hurt anybody, right? But I did some dumb stuff.
I did too.
I'm lucky to be alive still to this day. But I did some dumb stuff.
Yeah.
But nowadays, if you do dumb things, it costs a lot. The price is a lot more now. So unfortunately for these kids out here, this is, I think, something we got to go through. But it's a conversation that we do need to continue to have.
Yeah.
But we need to have it in a positive way and support our mayor, support our police department, support our leaders in this city, right? And because we have great leadership here, and we support all the different programs out there, especially the one that we're part of, for working behind the scenes. What people don't know, there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes in Birmingham trying to curb this.
Can we mention the name of the organization?
I don't want to until we get that permission from them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but there are a lot of things that's going on behind the scenes that people are working on. They're trying to curb this, right? And there are a lot of people, sis, involved in working to fix this.
Thank you for mentioning that, because that's the balance of it. We've got some issues in Birmingham, but there are people working on solutions in high-profile positions. That'll be my close on that or whatever. So I don't want to hear us bashing the city. He talked about the support, and I publicly support our mayor. I publicly support our city leaders. I publicly support our community leaders who are providing solutions. Okay, please don't hear that part. I publicly support our parents here in Birmingham, because I see some of the sacrifices that our parents are making as well. So please don't hear that part. I'm just saying, my heart is toward what we have as an issue as it relates to violence, as it relates to the killings here in Birmingham. My heart is toward the families who mourn. My heart is toward the families who are being impacted by it. And Keisa is actively praying for and actively working to be a part, as I know my brother Joe is, to be a part of the solution. So hear that part. I always like to bring balance, because people will tune in and hear a certain part of it. And
Let's take some cuts out and hear that part, though.
And I don't care, and I don't care about that part, because I know I'm a part of the solution. So we, the time is well spent, and I'm sitting here thinking, are we turning into a talk show now? Because we do have a relationship topic. And
but we started a little late, so we still on time.
Still have a few minutes. We won't be late.
We still about 20 more minutes. So, but it rolls into everything that we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Toxicity,
right? Absolutely.
Right? Where everything comes to, from relationships, from politics,
Absolutely.
Right? Now we bring it back to the home. So we went out, we went international, global, and then we went local, and now we're gonna bring the show back to the close. We're gonna bring it home to toxin that's in relationships and goes in your home. See how we do that?
I like it. That was pretty good. You can tell he's got experience with this, don't you? So as we get ready to round it out, as promised at the top of the show, and for those of you who are tuned in, it's at the top of the hour. Got another few minutes left here on the show to talk about our topic.
We got plenty of time.
Okay, so just go there, just roll with it. So as we mentioned, and I would love to hear from you all. Would love to hear from you all on this. We talked about toxic relationships. So back to our point now. Number one, have you ever dealt with a toxic relationship? If so,
yeah, I'm looking at one.
You're not. Ouch! I don't receive that.
They're pray for us, y'all. Pray for us. Can't you see the toxicity that comes from this right here?
All smiles this morning. He said that I did. So no, it's not a toxic relationship. I have to correct it. Somebody will go back and watch. Oh my God, are y'all have a toxic? No, he's kidding. He's joking.
I can say it out loud though.
He's joking.
It's called communication.
He's joking.
He's joking. I'm joking.
Because somebody will come back and say, "You're toxic. What are you doing to him?"
She beats me. That was a.
Thank you.
She had these newspapers, right? What did I tell you? She had a couple of them.
Are you going to use it to beat me this morning? No, I'm not a violent woman.
And why would I say that? Because I felt the energy when I walked in. She had more than one of these newspapers. And I thought one of them was for me.
See, that's his
trauma.
Well, there you go.
I'm used to my morning beating before I get on the show.
No, he's not. No, he's not. Let me correct you. No, he's not. It's very pleasant. No, because somebody will be like,
I used to have hair. I used to have hair. I don't know if you ever watched NCIS with the Gills where you bop somebody in the back of the head all the time, right? That's her.
Nephew, my mother would come to me and say, "What are you doing? What are you doing to him?" She would say, "What are you doing to Joe?
Mama,
are you beating him? Are you beating him?" Mom, he was just kidding.
Mama Shaw.
So no, he is kidding. I give up. You're gonna make me roll up this paper. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Help me. Anyway, let me move on. So anyway, speaking of toxic relationships, so I want to start with a story. It's story time for a few seconds, okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Look, Greg is on here talking and saying something. I'm getting to you in a moment, Greg. Hold on. Speaking of toxic relationships, this is a story, but it's a true story, okay? Internationally in Spain. This is just one example. One lady, after having her husband, she went to the police after getting into a terrible fight with her husband.
Uh-huh.
Her husband apparently broke off one of the stools of a wooden chair and beat her profusely, violently. They had some altercations before, but she had not, they were toxic relationships, under the underlying theme, toxic relationships. She went to the police. She reported it. The police used AI and they asked her a series of questions. Examples, has he ever beat you before? What is is he an alcoholic? Does he abuse drugs, et cetera, et cetera? She answered the questions. They entered the questions into a computer, and AI, artificial intelligence, generated a response saying it was unlikely that he will continue to perpetuate any violence against you. AI in Spain, in that country, is a tool that they use to help in domestic abuse cases and to help them in crime. So they got a score based on putting all that information in, and the score said it is a low likelihood that he will escalate any aggression or any violence towards you. She didn't go back home, but she separated from it. Mm-hmm. Fast forward, they had 4 children together. Fast forward, a month later, he killed her.
Unalive.
He what?
Unalive.
He unalived her. Sorry. So she's no longer here to tell the story. The family is suing that police department. I forget what country, what community, but they are now suing, saying, had it not been for AI, artificial intelligence, our loved one would have been alive. It's certainly not the only case. But again, toxicity, number one, and I was thinking about how to title this, when artificial intelligence goes wrong, I would not want my loved one to, for her safety, her livelihood being based on what artificial intelligence tells me. The government is arguing, the police department is arguing, it has been very effective as a tool in managing crime and managing these sorts of cases. The family says, we don't care. Our loved one would still be here had it not been for that. Toxic relationships. I'm going to volley that to you and say, number one, what do you think about it? Number two, and I want you to ponder this as well. My opinion, my daughter, I could care less about what AI says. If he's beating you, if he's violently beating you, I'm not going to say the chances are of it happening again, but I'm going to say that's time for you to break and get to a place of safety. Period. What say you?
I'm gonna say this. I think again, once they get to the police department, it's after the fact. I think you know if you want to sue the police department, that's fine. But and I got two daughters.
Yeah, I know.
And if this happened,
Yeah.
what would I feel?
Well, how would you feel?
I wouldn't blame the police department. I wouldn't blame AI because my daughter married this person, and I'm quite sure I've had this conversation, if she told me, with this gentleman before. If she stays and goes back, AI didn't make her go back. The only thing AI said was for the police department, but it's likely that it won't happen again. But my daughter knows him. AI doesn't. So I wouldn't blame AI. I'm sorry, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because the police department has to take care of a whole city or a state or that municipality. My daughter and her husband are not the only people there. They're not the only people with problems. It is my daughter's responsibility to protect herself and her kids. And I hate saying this, but I can't go there, sis. I can't. I would definitely, I would be upset, but I'd be more angry with my daughter because she wasn't strong enough to leave.
So what say you all in the case of AI? I tend to, and I think I'm just giving an example about how we're relying on that. Now, to her credit, she did not go back to him. Oh, she wanted to, did she, and I can't remember the details of whether she received a restraining order against him. I don't think they issued a restraining order because they said it was not likely. She did not stay with him, he lived elsewhere. But I think it's a clarion call, recognizing the signs. If he's brutally beat you one time, if it's, in my opinion, I'm not going to give him a second chance to see whether or not he's reformed or whether or not it's changed. I would tell my daughter, I would tell my niece, I would tell my nephew, in the case of what you said, you know this gentleman, if he's done it once, I would be very cautious about re-entering into that situation. So let's talk now and just kind of round out the show today. Signs of a toxic relationship. I'm going to say sign number one, speaking of this case, love doesn't hurt. There's no way that you can tell me that a gentleman in a fit of rage will get a pass for beating me brutally and senselessly. And as I read the story, it wasn't the first incident. She'd married him since she was in her 30s. She met him when she was 14. She married him at 17. And so it wasn't the first time that he had displayed violence against her. I think that was the time that just really frightened her. So I would just say, when love turns violent, it's not love. Sign number one of toxicity. What other signs would you say would be considered toxic relationships?
But we're going to back up a tad bit.
All right.
Because when we say toxicity, first you need to know, are you toxic?
Well, it goes both ways.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, but if you like to argue,
Yeah.
right, or if you like to,
Yeah.
you know, initiate something to get something from your mate,
Yeah.
because that's your love language, I would say. Because some people love to do things just to, you know, get at you, right?
So that part, that's toxic right there. Is that what you're saying?
If you know you're that person, yes. To me, that's toxic.
That's good. It is.
Because
it is.
you
I
know,
agree.
there are people, I've been, I've tried to talk to big women, I tried to talk to but their thing was they they're quick to get hot headed about anything that you ask them, anything you talk about, anything you say. That's their way of doing things. That's toxic within itself. You know what I mean? So I think, if I'm talking about a toxic relationship, I think we have to be careful about what we're entering into and why. Because you can say, well, that's just, but this is what I hear most men, that's just how she is. That's her. She's, she's she's a good person, but she's gonna speak her mind. Where that's somewhere you're gonna speak your mind to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's somewhere. That's somewhere you're gonna speak. I'm gonna speak my mind to you.
I agree with that.
Now, if you are a person that allows somebody to do that to you, that's you.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with me
Uh-huh.
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when it comes to toxicity, I think it's the level of toxicity you have within yourself first.
I think that's very good. I think that's backing it up all the way to the beginning, number one. And number two, I 100% agree with you. I believe it's toxic when you talk about how you relate to someone. And, we all, both of us talk about Steve Harvey a lot. Steve Harvey is, I consider Steve Harvey a mentor. And one of the things that he talks about in relationships is women who try to be aggressive with men. I'm sorry. Some women can stand toe to toe with a man, but most women can't stand toe to toe with a man. I don't care how docile he appears, or even if he's smaller than you. Just physically, most men are going to have an advantage. As a woman, I'm not the type of woman who likes to go up to that level and try to test him and be like, well, I'm going to, just go and do whatever, or either talk and get him to that place.
Mm-hmm.
And because a lot of times a man will tell you, all right, all right now. You know what I'm saying? I can recall times in my marriage where it's like, okay, I don't want to talk about this right now. And you keep going, you keep going, you keep going. If you do, you're putting that other person in a position.
No, Keisa, we're not going to do this.
Yeah.
Just not.
Right.
Chill.
Yeah.
We can talk about it later.
Yeah.
Which part didn't you understand, baby? We're not doing this.
We're not doing it right now. Let's back away off of this.
Yeah.
So that's toxic, not having that self-control in that moment.
But then, as y'all are watching this, are you the person that when someone said, I don't want to talk about this right now?
That's right.
Are you the person that's saying, oh, we going to talk about this right now?
we're going to talk about this right now. We're going to do this.
Right, because then that comes to the level of, okay, are you toxic? Meaning, let's take the word toxic. Are you persistent because you want to handle it now? Right? See, you may not realize that you are toxic because when a grown person tells you they don't want to talk about it right now, you're not going to make a grown person talk about it if they don't want to.
That's right.
You're going to meet resistance.
That's right.
And that becomes the problem. So sometimes you have to understand and pump your brakes and your ego, even men. When your woman says she don't want to talk about it right now, find a better time or a better way to talk about it. Ask the question, okay, so when can we talk about it, or is something we can talk about?
I like that.
Because here's the thing for me. If you say you don't want to never talk about it,
yeah,
I'm gonna say, are you sure?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when the situation, whatever happens again, I'm going to make my decision based upon what you said to me the last time. So that means that I'm going to divorce you, or I'm going to walk out, or I'm going to go do something, right? Because I'm going to ask you specifically.
Yeah.
Are you sure you never want to have this conversation again? Because it's something I need to talk to you about. I don't want to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
When you see that U-Haul truck backing up to the house, right? She's like, what's happening? You remember that conversation you didn't want to have?
Yeah.
We don't need to have it now.
We don't need to have it now.
You see what I'm saying?
I love it.
Because again, I can show
it.
you better than I can tell you. Because at this stage, I don't need to argue with you about what it is that we need to talk about as two grown folks.
You keep saying, what I hear you say at this stage, at this age, because when you get to a certain age, we're part of the 50 and Fabulous group, and we're not excluding any other group, okay? 50 and Fabulous, but we're not excluding any other group, okay? All of the ages are fabulous.
We're just better. We're just a little bit better right now.
But I'm with you. I think there are just some things that when you get to a point, when you get to a mature age, there are just some things that we're past that. Another arguing, excessive arguing, yelling. I'm thinking about things that I consider to be toxic at this age. Yelling, trying to, displays of dominance, whether from men or women. I'm not picking up a side with man or woman. I'm just saying from both sides. unnecessary displays of dominance are things that I think about as toxicity. Insecurities, being concerned about who I'm talking to, being concerned about where I am at every second, being concerned about my relationships, being concerned about what I'm doing, who I'm talking to on the phone. All of those things are toxic because at this particular point in my life, I believe are toxic. He's speaking for Keisa. Because at this point, if we don't have trust, no person has any control. I used to hear my pastor say this all the time, pastor a long time ago. You don't have any reins on anyone. If a grown person wants to cheat, a grown person is going to cheat.
Exactly.
If a grown person wants to go out and do whatever with another person, they're going to do it.
Exactly.
We don't have, so trying to control, financially control. I've been in situations where one partner wants to control the money, every aspect of it. If I'm a working adult, what sense? What meaning has it with you trying to control what I do? Why did you want to be in a relationship with me? Why did you want to be in a marriage with me if you don't trust the decisions? I've been single a good portion of my life. I've been single a good portion of my life. Why would you now come along and think? And if we really looked at it, I'm a better person financially than you are. Why not we capitalize on both strengths instead of displaying dominance? And I've got to tell you what to do and how. And he's laughing at me. So why are you laughing? Go ahead and get me. I wasn't giving you some.
No, go ahead and keep cooking. I'll tell you after the show.
Huh?
Keep cooking.
So I'm just at a place at this.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
So I'm just at a place, and I just pray that we all are at a place where we grow and we learn from our mistakes. I've been the person who's contributed. Let me, if I'm going to get on it, let me get on everybody. Let me put myself in there as well. The thing that can be a blessing can also be a curse. My mouth can be the biggest blessing, but it has been and could be one of the biggest hindrances that I've had to relationships. You don't know that because you've never been in a relationship with me, so you can't say that. You be quiet over there, Mr. Charles. But I also understand that I have a power, and a lot of times as women, I'm going to get on us. You can use this thing in the way you say it and how you say it, and I'm still a work in progress. But here's the deal: I'm willing to change. My natural nature is not one. I'm an oldest daughter. I've been in positions of having been a caregiver. I've had to be assertive in terms of my career. I've had to blaze some trails on certain things. That naturally creates with it a sort of air. I'm a business owner. That creates an air of assertiveness. It creates an air of, if you don't ask, you're not going to get it. It creates an air of, they may respect another person of God by virtue of him just being a God, and may not respect me as a woman. It carries some things with it. But I've also seen that the same things that I've used to excel in business and excel in my career, I've had to dial down in relationships, and I still don't get it right. But the thing I understand about Keisa right now is I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to be able to change that. I'm willing to be able to ebb and flow because my life, the measure of my life is not going to just be in success. I have this work ethic. I kind of have an insatiable work ethic, and because of that, I think my success in the arena of doing whatever I want to do, that's not gonna be an issue for me. Right now, my life right now is I'm having to go back and repair. This is just coming to me. I'm having to go back and repair some things relationally because I can blaze past. I am mission oriented. I can blaze past the person because I'm trying to get the goal finished and get to the finish line. Now God is pulling me back and saying, it's unquestioning. When you put your mind to something, I'm going to do that. That's just how it works for me because I just believe, I have faith, and I also have a work ethic. People don't see you being in this entrepreneurial arena. I'm willing to stay up late. I'm willing to not get as much sleep sometimes. I come places and do things without even having to worry about being paid. I figure the money will come. I do that. You don't have to ask me to do that. But now I want that, but I want it with a relationship success as well. And having been a divorcee, I understand that I have not gotten some things right. So I'm at a point in my life where I want that to go along with it because to me, success is holistic. And I want success success not only in my business. I want to, I'm not where I want to be as an entrepreneur, but I'm growing, and I'll get there because I'm surrounded by some great people like Joe, who are great mentors and teachers and a support, NECA and nephew, who support us in what we do. So I'm surrounded by some great people. Relationally, though, this is my season for lessons. So I will put myself in there. I'm sorry, that was a long monologue, but what I'm saying is I'm not going to give myself a pass either. In other words, be quiet, Keisa. Does that make sense to you? Because I think as women, we get it wrong, and sometimes we think we have a right because women think, "Oh, I have this success," and we inadvertently disrespect men. We inadvertently disrespect you all. So let me say, on behalf of women, women do better. But let me say, on behalf of all women, even those who've gone before you, we don't need to do it, Joe. We just haven't been properly taught. So let me just say that on behalf of you, on behalf of all guys, let me say as a woman, particularly an African American woman, let me just say, we're sorry about the way we've done things. Let me say that. It's not always doing it and even for the women who have hurt you, let me just say that we're not always doing things because we mean to. There's some things in us that just make us tick, and it's automatic, and it takes work to go back and say I didn't do it right. It's a lot of work to do that, and I'm in that working process right now. I'm in that phase. So I'm going to say to you on behalf of even those who've done it, and to you on behalf of those women who've done it, extend grace and extend forgiveness, because sometimes we do things based on our upbringing. And my upbringing is one where I've had to be strong. I didn't have a choice to be docile and take the back seat. And perhaps for the women who may have hurt you, that may have been the case for them too. So let me just say, give them grace, and let me apologize on behalf. And I issue apologies on behalf of those who I may have hurt inadvertently by my nature as well. That was long.
But you need to.
I guess. It wasn't about anybody else but me, wasn't it?
A lot of folks needed that out there. Keith, we thank you, the men that's listening to the show today. About to wrap up, y'all, but Keith, thank you for the apologies. I accept on behalf of men that been through some things.
Yeah.
And may you continue to hear. And all the ladies out there, may you continue to hear through whatever toxicity that you may have brought or somebody brought to you. May we all continue to hear. And on that note, y'all, we're signing out from the Physical Coffee Pod right here downtown. Keisa and Joe Show. You guys can follow the Joe Like Show this evening from 4 to 6. And on Friday, you got the one and only Keisa. She's going to be coming in with what?
Oh my God, Evolve.
Yes.
So I'm actually going to tape. We're going to tape it a little bit early, but we're going to be talking Candace O'Neill.
Okay.
She is with the United Way. We have a little sickling on our staff today, who's not feeling so well. Our producer really shows up anyway. But we're going to be talking about United Way. She's community engagement officer, doing some fabulous things. People in the public relations arena know her. So we're going to just be talking about and think about the United Way. So many programs that it offers for the community for you to take advantage of. We're going to be talking about some of those efforts and some of the things that you'll be able to take advantage of.
Well, awesome. Thank you guys for hanging out with us for your morning coffee. We're going to finish our morning coffee right here at Filter Coffee Bar.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next week.
Next
Y'all know how we feel
Wednesday.
about you, right? We love you.